I knew something was different. I just figured it out. The half Santa Claus is way shorter.
I trimmed it. Thank you for noticing.
I didn't say it looks good. I just said it looks different.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate it.
Okay, whatever. Well,
you look better as Satan.
It's a work in progress. We'll grow it back out.
We'll work back to Satan, please.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Shit Talk Reviews. It's good to be sitting here with you boys. Although, I will say, we spent a fair amount of time together last week.
That's true. Quality time, especially with me and Derek.
It was quality time, wasn't it?
Yeah. Rick Astley time, man. Together
That's
forever.
Right. Yeah. That's right. Well, for our gracious listener, I'm John, of course, David and Derek in the room, and it's good to be back. We did take last week off because we were, as we said, traveling. We were being men about the country and seeing some of our favorite bands and some of our favorite people outside of bands. So we figured we'd just sit down and chat about that experience.
Yeah. Great time. It was an incredible time. The bands were great, and I can't wait to talk about it.
I don't know where to start. We had a lot packed into a very short time frame.
Why don't we go chronological order of arriving at the hotel and what we did after that?
Take us there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, we arrived at our hotel in Watertown. We went and found Keith Bennett from Death Ray Vision. We got a tour of his house, and lovely home. Very proud of it. And then he took us on a true New England Dunkin' Donuts experience where you have to go in and abide by the rules of the flow of traffic. And now what Keith didn't know, and Keith will probably watch this, is that we had just gone to that Dunkin' Donuts prior.
About 10 minutes before.
and the ladies behind the counter thought we were insane. But they played along with it, and we let Keith take us through the true New England Dunkin' experience. Again, in the flow, ordering the right drink that is essentially liquid candy. Whatever he ordered, it just had endless sugar inside of it, and my teeth are still rotting from it, but I'm happy about it.
Worth it. Totally worth it.
Totally worth it. Yeah.
It's a class act for sure.
Yeah. Let's just pause for a second and talk about what absolutely lovely human being Keith Bennett is. That guy is incredible on so many levels. He is so generous, so kind, generous.
Listen, anybody who takes the time out to do what he did for us, show us right before, day of a show, pretty incredible. He took us to some great places, off the beaten path for sure, not the touristy stuff. It was great to see. I think he was, would you say he was proud, right, John and Derek?
Absolutely
proud of where he's from. He's so Boston. He's like a local celebrity. People recognize him.
Well, that was insane. It didn't matter where we were. And we hung out with him for 4 or 5 hours before going to the venue. And it didn't matter where we were. And we'd been on foot, on trains. I mean, we were all over Boston, and it didn't matter where we were. People would point, Keith, what's going on?
Right.
And the impressive thing was he knew who all of them were too. He knew them all by name. It was pretty cool to see.
The little time we spent with him, I could tell you right now, you're in his nest. He's going to give you the shirt off his back. He's that kind of guy.
Absolutely.
Keith's a good guy. And we're not just saying this because he came on our show and he interviewed and we went to see him. Bennett's a genuinely good guy.
He's a class act.
Yeah.
We were walking past the Harvard, fields, and where Metallica headlined Boston Calling last year. And I came up for the show, and we were talking about Metallica, and he was impressed with 72 Seasons. And all of a sudden, this dude flies by on a bike, and he's like, "Hey, I used to be in a band with him." And then and literally, it is like walking around with the mayor of Boston. And I mean, we went to Harvard Square, went downstairs to a vinyl shop, knew the people in there. Yeah. Great
Armageddon
place as well.
Armageddon Records. Is that
great
what it was?
Memory, John. Yeah.
Great owner too. That guy was super cool and generous with his time and knowledge. It was awesome.
Yeah. And then from there, we went upstairs, went over to Pinocchio's, a great pizza place, really unique pizzas in there. And that is also in Harvard Square. Then we went down to the T. He talked about how it used to be an area, the Harvard Square T stop used to be a place for skateboarding and kids to get together and make plans. And now there are places to sit and have a coffee and not skateboard. And so that's disappointing because when I lived there, I was in Boston for 16 years. That was a hangout, and it is no longer a hangout, which is very disappointing. So
yeah, now you get arrested. You get arrested being on a skateboard there now.
Yeah, Cambridge, get your shit together and let people skateboard and hacky sack and do fun things around the T stop, please. We talked sports. We talked Boston sports. I know John did not participate in that, but I did appreciate it.
Sports ball. There was lots of sports ball talk.
Yeah, it was good. It was good to be home, and interestingly, Keith took me places that I'd never been, and I lived there for 16 years, so that was exciting. We then from there got on the T, took the T, went down to up to Beacon Hill. We walked through there. We hit the upper crust. Another pizza joint, and there was no questions asked. He bought us pizza and said, "You're going to eat more pizza." It's
phenomenal.
Well, and that goes to what I was saying earlier. I mean, this guy is so generous. He wouldn't let us pay for a thing. Just mind-blowingly kind. I not to say I was surprised, but
I'm not surprised. Keith's a good guy, man.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. I'm not surprised,
and clearly excellent taste in pizza.
For sure. Yeah.
Unbeknownst to me, my older sister went to Boston University, and I don't remember the road that it was where the statue, you know what I'm talking about, Derek?
That was on Marlborough Street.
Yes. Yep. My sister lived like 50 feet from that statue
Unreal.
For a long time, and I was right there, and so because I'm an ignorant family member, I had no idea.
Yeah,
but it was great.
And Keith took us to the end of Beacon Hill, through the parks, public parks, down Marlborough, and then we picked up a Uber from there and headed over to the Paradise. So great dude. Support his bands, Casket Rats and Death Ray Vision.
Great venue too. Paradise is an awesome place.
It's
great. Intimate. It's tight. I don't know. What do you figure the capacity is there? Any idea?
700, maybe 600. Derek, is that with the balcony?
Maybe 1,000 with the balcony.
Yeah.
But great venue, great place to see a show. Audio's really solid in there. And then of course there was the lineup for that night. The tour package was Cavalera Conspiracy headlined, Exhumed, Incite, and Death Ray got to open the show.
Yeah.
So incredible lineup. Death Ray, not surprisingly, fucking killed it.
John, can we just back up just a bit? How awesome was it to just see the behind the scenes though of everything? I mean, you're a musician, you've done this 1,000 times. For me, it was awesome just to see everything going on behind the scenes and how their routine, every band was just in and out, very professional, put their stuff together. Just sound checks. It was awesome. Just the whole experience was great.
I love that stuff. As you said, I've done it plenty in my life, and it was fun to get back in there. I haven't done that for a long time now.
Yeah.
And it's a fun energy, seeing it all come together. And as you said, these guys are all pros. Everybody knows exactly what to do. They're very efficient. They're, loaded in, sound checked, ready to go. There's no bullshit. And in my time, and I'm sure all the experience with all those band members too, there are plenty of times when they dealt with rank amateurs that had no idea what they were doing. Yeah. But these guys, they're seasoned pros, just in, out, and that show was ripping quick.
I agree. Yeah,
I will say Mike D was obviously he's a perfectionist. Mike D is the bassist in Death Ray Vision, does all the artwork. He's also the bassist in Killswitch Engage and does all of their artwork as well. But he was largely the sound man for the show, and he was fixing a lot of problems during Death Ray Vision sound check and fixing monitors and making sure the acoustics are right so that the bands that were playing after them would be able to hear. So he was working the sound men over. He was on it, and it worked. They sounded Death Ray Vision, and I hate to say this, they from a sound perspective and execution perspective really kind of outplayed a lot of the opening bands. Not all of them, but a good portion of them.
I agree.
Well, my guess is, and this is a guess, so take it for what it's worth. I suspect that the tour package had their own front of house sound engineer. So the guy for Incite, Exhumed, and Cavalera travels with them, whereas it was probably the in-house tech front of house engineer who ran sound for Death Ray Vision, which means he knows that gear, he knows the room, and he dialed in the perfect sound for them, and they did sound fucking incredible.
Oh, they sounded incredible.
Not to say that the other guys didn't, but yeah, Death Ray killed it. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. I cannot wait to see Death Ray on much, much bigger stages. And frankly, they deserve to be playing much bigger stages. And I hope it happens for them, though I know they're busy. We got to talk a lot with Mike, and Killswitch is very busy now. I don't know if I'm not going to speak about what, they've got stuff going on now. So we don't know when we'll get to see Death Ray on stage again, but hey, getting to see Mike and the guys from Killswitch is equally a treat too. So that'll be fun.
He was saying that they are, and for the fans that are out there that like Killswitch Engage, they're taking their time with this one. It's not the rigmarole of, album comes out, tour for X amount of years and get back in the studio, record it. They've taken the time to write and record it. And I'm excited to hear what they come up with time, because I don't think that this band, since their inception, in the early 2000s, has taken time to write another record. They took their time with Alive or Just Breathing, but after that, it's been the cyclical thing. So look for good things from them in next year. I think that album is going to be a beast.
Yeah.
When Death Ray hit the stage, I think for users who've never been to the Paradise, you walk in, I think you walk up a platform, maybe 10 stairs up to the balcony that whips right around. You could see everything. We were on the side, and I think maybe 10, 15 minutes into that set, I said, you know what? I got to walk down and get to the front of the stage. And it was awesome. I mean, they sounded so good. And Bennett was just on his game. The whole band just
that guy's on fire.
Yeah. And I think the crowd was like, wow, these guys. You could tell the response was pretty positive.
Well, going back to the venue, that's one of the cool things about Paradise is it's such a small venue that you could be at the farthest point away from the stage and you're still pretty much right there.
It's a great setup.
It's a very intimate, concert experience. And as the bands, the rest of the bands played that night, not surprisingly, some pretty respectable pits got going, circle pits out there. And
we'll get to that.
As an old man, I was very happy to be, tucked safely away in that loft balcony area, because I was not about to get in the midst of all that.
But you, as a musician, you played venues all over. The sound in that place was unreal. I mean, it was just perfect sound in there. It felt like I don't know. It just felt like so clear to me. Every piece of instrument was precise at all the bands, everybody.
Now, the system there, the PA is clearly tuned to the room, which is much more common now than it used to be 20, 30 years ago when it was a crapshoot. Any venue could have an astonishingly good PA that was tuned to the room, or you could walk in and it was a couple of old shitty PV PA speakers with 115 on either side. Nobody could hear shit, or it was so loud that it was painful for everybody and you couldn't hear anything. So
I've been to the Paradise probably 100 times, maybe. I don't know. Probably. And what was cool for me was that they had Lord Hobo boom sauce for beer there. So great for beer. You beer, I mean, for you guys that are beer connoisseurs, when you hit Boston, and I think they are starting to get out, but Lord Hobo has some really good beers, but the boom sauce it's a boomer of a beer.
Yeah, I'm not much of a drinker, but I did try it, and it is delicious.
Something simple but so powerful. I loved walking in and seeing the walls of everybody who played there. Right? It's like, you look at it. How many people have walked by there and not looked at it?
Right.
But man, when you really saw the bands that have gone through this place, it's awesome.
Huge.
It's like a CB
now too.
It's like the CBGB of New York, right? just bands, that's just great bands that have come in and out of there. That was impressive. I like that a lot.
Yeah, they've had a lot of talent in that room.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Should we
Death
get
Ray
to
opened up the
Incite?
show. Oh yeah,
Let's
Incite.
Get to Incite. Go in order.
What can you say about Incite?
Listen, that whole set was great, but the front man, Max's son, is absolutely incredible. The way this guy works the stage, I was zoned in on him the full time.
Richie
Amazing.
Cavalera, right?
Yeah.
Richie, is that right, Derek?
Yes.
Did we? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Richie
Cavalera.
He is insane. That guy is a monster front man.
Phenomenal.
I see big things in this guy's future. And you're right, man. He worked every square inch of that stage, man. He is a force, absolute force up there. Yeah. So great. So much fun to watch that guy work. And he had a solid band behind him too.
I just love when he was working the stage and then he'd put his foot on that front row railing, just getting everybody's face. It was us. The guy works the stage to perfection. He gets everybody in. Man,
I don't know why. It's a DNA thing that the Cavaleras doing this. Like that, Richie was doing it. They just all did. Just that has to be a DNA thing. Like you farting a lot, Dave. They do take the world by fire.
Yes, they do. Yeah, and then you get it. Well, I don't know if we want to jump ahead, but then you get to Exhumed, and they were just phenomenal. They were also just heavy, though. I mean, they were just really. Certainly, each band was different, right?
Yeah, I'm familiar with Exhumed, but I don't know much of their catalog. Me too. And they just absolutely slayed it up there.
Yeah. And we got to meet the guitar player, which was great.
We chatted with Sebastian Phillips, Baz, later in the night, and hopefully we're going to get to have a chat with him here on the podcast. He is a sweetheart of a guy too, and
slays it.
Is he a monster guitar player?
Yeah,
incredibly good. So much fun to watch him play. Yeah. So they were a great band. And then, of course,
then we get to the main event.
Out came Max and Igor and Amadeus. And regrettably, and I apologize that I still have not found out who the second guitar player's, what his name is, because so fucking good, man. And you're the historic Sepultura guy, and Max, I know, is pretty near the top of your list, Derek. It was so much fun for me to get to watch you watching them.
Yeah, it was great for Derek. For me, Ed, it was I didn't know what to expect. It's kind of new to me from you guys. Man, I could have listened to them for another hour. I mean, they were awesome. Awesome band.
Well, here's the cool thing about that, and we've talked about this a little bit off mic, that there may be a little conversion happening with you.
It's happening. Yeah, especially after watching Cavalera. I loved it. How about when he says, "Let me see that fucking circle. You want the real Sepultura?"
What
his riff,
was cool?
His guitar playing is just. Derek, you could speak because
what's cool for me is, look, I've seen Max a bunch of times over the years, but this material, the Morbid Visions and Bestial Devastation material, getting its limelight. He came out and he said, let's take you back to 1983. And it's like this material still works today, and the re-recording just gave it a breath of fresh air. For me, it was wonderful to see Antichrist live. That song I've always felt like it was a song that needed to be redone. Necromancer was another one, such a heavy song. And then War is a beast. And he just sounded just like a fucking monster.
Yes, he did.
With this material. And then it was cool because then they went and they started doing stuff off the Chaos AD album. Which was unexpected. They did, Into the Void, which was awesome. That's off Schizophrenia. And that's probably the next album that they will redo. And again, I don't know anything. I'm just, expecting them to do it because that album could also use a facelift. And then ending with Troops of Doom, just the pit exploded. And the pit was going pretty well, but Troops of Doom has some riffs in it that are, for me, have stood the test of time. And I went back. I got into Max around 1988 with Beneath the Remains. I went back and listened to all that other stuff. Troops of Doom has a classic riff in it, but now the new generations can hear it and actually feel it, and they're playing it live the way that it should have always been played.
So as a true fan, Derek, from a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, where would you put his set list for that show?
A 9, and the only reason why is for me, I like Beneath the Remains and Arise better than the material that they played, and I like Chaos AD as well. But I got to tell you, and I struggle with this. Max has so much material between Sepultura and Soulfly, Cavalera, and Go Ahead and Die, and Killer Be Killed, and Nail Bomb, that I couldn't put together a list of the top 15 songs if he was to play them, because there's so much good music in his music library. And, you compare his music library and you look at the big four, and they've got, 5 to 10 albums, and then he's got like, over 30, and is there filler in there? Yeah. Was there a time where he's doing a lot of, kind of more bouncy stuff and less riff driven stuff? Yeah, sure. I don't like Jump the Fuck Up, but during Soulfly shows, they don't not play it because it's a bouncy song and the whole place bounces up and down, and Max is on stage bouncing and whoever's in the band with him is bouncing. And it's a happy, bouncy, fun metal song. That's not the material I like, but still, over the course of time since he started, I would put his music library up against all the big guys: Judas Priest, Metallica, Anthrax, you name it. He can write riffs. He rolls out of bed and he hits home runs every single time with what riffs he writes.
And again, you have his one son singing for Incite, and then you have his other son, who's the bass player in this band, who is just, again, amazing talent.
Well,
his family, he was phenomenal. Go ahead, Derek. Sorry.
Well, and he too, he's got his own band, Healing Magic, which is a beast of a band. And we're going to be talking to him next week on Wednesday. Yeah. And he's helped me. I follow him on Instagram, and he turned me on to Mountain Witch, which is like a doom stoner band. That's just wicked. And he will post these little things. Hey, I'm kind of into this band. And you'll go listen to him. Every time he hits a home run too, with his suggestions for bands. So he's a smart kid, great dude. He talks to all of the fans that are on social media, and I'm excited to talk to him.
Me too.
I think we should go in there and not try to mention Max and his uncle once.
No, it is impressive, the family dynamic, because you talk about a musical dynasty. Right. That's the Cavalera family, right up, to Max's wife, Gloria, who kind of manages everybody.
She is a woman of many talents, and she is in full control. And what I've learned is even getting near them, to try to do anything with Max, it's like, no, we're not doing that. We don't need to. And she didn't say that, but it was implied. But if you want to talk about Go Ahead and Die with Igor Amadeus, well, feel free. Let's do it.
I'd love to. Yeah.
I will say that props to Boston. I've been not like Derek, but I've been there a ton of times with the hockey with my son. But Derek did say during our interview with Bennett way back, he was talking about the Paradise and the pit and how crazy it can get. And Derek had made a comment, when you fall in the pit, people are gonna get you up off that ground. And we were from the balcony. We had a great shot at the pit. And at one time when Cavalera was going, I looked over and that pit was pretty intense. And I saw probably 3 or 4 people fall in that pit. And man, was Derek right. People just stop what they're doing. Yeah. Get that kid off the floor back into the game. Mad respect for that. I think that was pretty awesome. It says a lot about Boston. You know what I mean?
Well, Boston and the metal community in general. I think historically, metalheads, metal fans catch kind of a bad rap.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's just noise and all that shit. I didn't buy it then, and I don't buy it now.
Yeah. Listen, a minute. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, look at you, Dave. You're a rock fan. You're a fairly clean cut individual, professional looking dude. And even you are turning, and seeing the benefits of what really heavy music, can bring.
I've said this 1,000 times, and I'm going to say it again. There's something about metal fans. Okay. Something about the camaraderie. It's like they're in a nest. They're all in on this is one. There wasn't one time when we walked into that place that I saw a fight, yelling, people not getting along. As soon as those bands hit the stage, it's like everybody just came as one. Again, back to the mosh pit. Somebody fell, we're getting your ass up. We're going to make sure you're all right. Mad respect. And there was no problems there.
No.
Everybody looks at, if you drove by that place and saw the line outside, you'd be like, wow, what a crowd this is. But you know what, man? Everybody was in it together. It was great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Great crowd.
Yeah.
Great crowd.
You know,
great crowd that night. Metalheads in general typically make for a great
spot
crowd.
on. I agree.
Yeah. But just what a phenomenal night there.
Well, I will say that sharing, my home with you guys. I mean, I grew up in Vermont. I went to college in Vermont, but I always felt at home in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Like once I got there, I'm like, oh, because the energy, the metal community, just everything about the food, anything you want to eat. And Boston gets a bad rap. Like, oh, it's racist. Not really. Not from what I've seen. And
No.
I lived there for 16 years. It is a vibrant, progressive, forward-thinking place with a lot of acceptance. And I was just happy to share that with you guys, and also see Max and hang out with Keith, and even talking to Mike D. He's an established dude in the metal community, and we just got to hang out with him. So it was a great night, and I couldn't stop smiling, and I haven't stopped smiling since getting back. So it was awesome to do that with you guys.
I'm glad I was there to see it with Derek. I know he's a huge fan. I just hope
Yep.
Derek likes, we go see Wolfgang. I just hope he likes them as much as I like Cavalera. That's all.
This is what you're going to see.
Yeah. Listen, we got to do it. Yeah, I would do this again, man. If we ever have a lineup like this again.
Oh, of course.
This was great.
Yeah.
Was
So
really
Boston was great. The show was great. Keith is fucking amazing. Thank you again, Keith.
Thank
very
you.
publicly for all you did for us. That's a lasting memory kind of thing with him. And then after the show got wrapped up, we all kind of went our separate ways. Dave, you shot back down here to Florida. Derek went to go visit his father up in Vermont. I had the great pleasure of hanging out with my sisters in Connecticut for a couple of days, which just,
Derek got to do the same. It's good for you guys.
Yeah.
It's nice because you don't go back home a lot.
No.
Yeah.
And it was awesome to see, where my sisters' lives are now, and they're doing great in their families. And I got to hang out with my nephew, Ben, who is just like a crazy, talented guitar player, bass player, and overall music fan. And I will maybe paint him into a corner and call him a metalhead, but we just got to have these great conversations, and you don't often get to do that.
Right.
I mean,
Great
when you get to have great conversations about music or anything for that matter, with people that you like, it's great. And it was such a treat to get to do that, especially after getting to go out with you two idiots and go have such a good time at such a good show with such good people. I mean, all the guys that we talked to in Death Ray, lovely guys. The guys in the other bands that we got to get a little bit of time with, fantastic people.
I agree.
So just like could not have asked for a better experience.
I will say in general, when did we get there? Around 4:30 maybe for sound check. We got there around 4:30. From 4:30 to the minute that concert ended. At no point during that time was I bored. Was I not interested? I was locked in the entire time. And that to me is awesome.
That's true. Derek posted a clip of you.
Yeah.
I think he jokingly said that you just couldn't get it. But I think what we know now is that you were, man, just whoosh.
I was locked in on every band. Yeah, it was great. I had a really good time with you guys. I had a really good time watching the show. And I'm going to say it again. If you don't know Death Ray Vision and you don't know these guys, you got to check this band out. They are awesome. They're solid, and they need to be on a bigger stage. They do. It's gotta happen. These guys are so good. So
this is why we do this too, is we were all kind of going like, there's so much music out there, but how much of it is good and how much of it deserves a spotlight? So we're going to build our tiny little spotlight, and hopefully it'll grow ever so slightly. And if we turn one person on to a new band, like I think we've turned on a few people to earn and, you know, so on and so forth, then we're doing our job. That's why we're doing it. We don't do this for money or anything else. And it's fun to talk with you guys and see the world with you guys and see these bands with you guys. It's just such a great time. And like I said, I'm so excited about where we're going and some of the things that we're going to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and I would be remiss, a related topic, but unrelated to most. I have to throw a shout out and a quick welcome to the newest edition of the Shit Show. That would be my personal family, not the Shit Talk Reviews Shit Show. To my guy 6. Glad to have you.
Yeah, 6. How about getting a shout out? Nice. Might as well throw Kate in there too, our number one.
Well, hey, yeah. I'm not one to talk about people's personal business,
Wow.
but
that's a big deal, 6. You just got some airtime. That's a big deal. Yeah, good for you.
So the next thing is we have to find the next show that we're well, actually, no, we know in Derek, is it November? We have Tesseract, Intervals, and Alluvial, and I am fucking out of my mind for that show. Next week we are going to review Tesseract's latest release, War of Being, which we apologize for not putting an episode out on last weekend on Sunday. We tried, it just wasn't in the cards for us to get that record done while we were traveling. So we're going to do that this coming Friday. That will get posted up next Sunday. And then, and then we'll get to go see that show in Tampa, Orlando. I don't know where we're going.
Tampa.
Very nice. Very nice.
So yeah, we gotta do some more flyaway shows. When does Barry Manilow tour start?
You know, it's a great question. I'm in the fan club. I haven't received anything, but anytime.
Maybe we reach out to their PR firm, see if we can
maybe
get
we can
15
get
minutes to sit down with Barry.
Yeah, maybe Barry can open for Exhumed.
Oh shit. Yeah. Okay. I'm on board.
All kidding aside, I can't wait to do this again. I hope. I can't wait. This is great. I'm a fan of Cavalera. I'm a fan of the bands I saw.
I'm excited that your eyes, ears, and heart have opened up just a little bit more to some heavier stuff.
Yeah, you guys are rubbing off on me. So it's good.
There is more to it than just like a nonstop assault of sound. There's stuff to it. But
welcome to being musically adulting, Dave.
I said it the other day. It's like, real heavy stuff is like scotch, like good Scotch whiskey. At first, you just wonder why in the fuck you're subjecting yourself to it. But then things start to click and you go, oh man, this is really good.
Yes. So by the way,
I'm excited that you'll soon be a full-blown alcoholic.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention Igor Cavalera too. Guy is unbelievable on the kit. It was awesome. Yeah. It was awesome watching him too. Just tons of talent on that stage throughout the entire night.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Tremendous talent.
Yeah.
There it is.
Well, and I'm glad you said that, because Max and Igor specifically, I mean, I think those guys were probably, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Derek, those guys are the longest term, players. I think everybody else that was on stage that night, a little younger.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And those guys, it was clear what they're consummate professionals. They came out and they just fucking killed it. There was no flubs. And if there were flubs, they picked them up and moved past them so fast that you didn't recognize that they ever happened.
Yeah.
That to me is fun. Like when you get to watch a true professional at maybe not the height of their game, but near the top of their game. That is fun to fucking watch. I don't care if it's somebody welding or playing guitar on stage or, painting a wall. Watching somebody who is that practiced and that good at what they do is just fun. And we got to see an awful lot of that night. So
sure. I agree. Yeah. Good. It was good.
Yeah. Anything else we need to touch on?
No, really.
I got to go. Our boss called me 3 times during our podcast. So the real job is awaiting.
All
right, gentlemen. Well, we will meet again here in a couple of days where we'll talk about Tesseract, and I look forward to it.
Very good.
Okay.
See ya.
Thank you.